Good day to everyone. This is Dr. Sivaraman of iknowindices.com. Welcome to a new week. Good morning to one and all. Let me display the slide. Asian session live market analysis on April 12th between 5 and 5:30 GMT. We come across an euphoric condition in the market. We will track the market using the live market quote page. I'll give the link for the same. Now you find that currently there is a very big rise in the case of Euro and GBP during the start of the week, and probably the Prime Minister of Greece has taken the credit for that. And ultimately, he has not spoken earlier, and he has spoken after all the downward stopping, and he himself said that don't play too much with Euro. So it shows that it is a typical manipulation in the market by that of the players, and finally they gain the levels as if they are respecting the words of the Prime Minister of Greece, and this is nothing but the pre-planned attack over that of the traders earlier occasions, and subsequently when the traders have turned very bearish and willing to take a sell position during the gain, and after that rise when the traders have taken the sell positions, they made a very big rise straight and indicating the traders who have gone short already to do the short covering. So this is the way the market is being manipulated and continue to be manipulated, and there is no question of the players stopping playing with it of the market. So either they will do it on a downside or on the upside, and ultimately their intention is to trap the traders. Now let us analyze the market. Euro is currently trading around 1.3683, 8082, and the low is 1.3557, which is quite far away. And the market is currently around that of the high 1.3690. The net change is 182 pips positive. So it shows that beyond the level of 150 pips, they already reached. They could reach to that level of over 200 pips, and then we will see what happens to that of Euro. Then in the case of GBP, it has also gained substantially in tandem with that of Euro. 1.5481, 1.5485 on the call, then 1.5382. So from the low it is about 100 pips away, and the high is 1.5484. Currently GBP is trading near that of the high. The net change is 110 pips positive. So GBP has got more scope to gain levels when compared to that of Euro. Then in the case of USD Yen, it is holding around 93, made a brief downward stop at 92.90 was the low, 93.30 is the high. Then Euro and GBP are expected to make the slide. You will find a gain again in the case of USD Yen. Then subsequently Euro and GBP will also gain. During that time, USD Yen is expected to hold the higher level. This is how they are expected to make the contrarian move. Currently, they are making the USD weakening move, and USD CHF is also on the negative net change of about 103 pips, and the low is 1.0531, the high is 1.0614. You find that market is trading slightly closer to that of the low, but not exactly near that of the low, as you come across in the case of Euro near that of the high. Then in the case of the commodity pairs, they lost the charm, as I explained that they lead the rally but lag behind. Now USD CAD is trading around 1.003135. The low is 1.0017. The high is 1.0053. The net change is 5 pips positive. And in the case of Australian dollar, the net change is 9 pips positive. We have seen earlier occasions, Australian dollar used to show about 50-60 pips net change positive, whereas Euro and GBP are not gaining much at that time. Now you find that Australian dollar is gaining much, not gaining much, whereas Euro and GBP are gaining. So this is how you find the commodity pairs lead the rally and lag behind. You understand, both in the case of Canadian dollar as well as in the case of Australian dollar, they are showing the net change of positive, So indicating that they intend to make the contrarian move soon. Now in this particular session, we'll come across these contrarian moves like euro has gained more when compared to that of GBP. Probably they will gain quickly in the case of GBP, holding euro. Thereby, you will find euro GBP is expected to slide. And also similarly, USD CHF, they could gain the level as a contrarian move. And euro is rising, USD CHF also, they gain the level. As you see that 178 pips positive net change is seen in the case of euro, whereas you come across only 102 negative net change in the case of CHF, indicating that less drop in the case of CHF when compared to that of more gains in the case of euro, which is mainly to rise euro CHF cross. And euro CHF cross, they came down to that level of 1.42 and subsequently they gained to that level of 1.44, the level which was seen during that of the SNB intervention, and they are expected to go above that and gain further another 50 pips above that of the current level in the case of USD CHF. And in the case of Euro GBP, they are expected to, they have gained about 52 pips positive. They will be holding these positive net change level in the case of Euro GBP till that of the early European session. Then subsequently, they will turn in the opposite direction of rising GBP more when compared to the of Euro. As a result, you will find Euro GBP is expected to drop the level. In the case of the yen crosses, you find that Euro yen has gained significantly 156 and GBP yen has gained about 87 pips. So understand, these are all the week beginning moves. So in the week beginning moves, we will come across some false moves and also subsequently the intentional move. Let us see how exactly the moves are going to be today as well as in the coming days. So let me fix the camera over that of the market quote page. Sorry, over that of the PowerPoint presentation. So expected market moves. So during the Japanese session, they gained the levels with the swing, and during the European session, they are expected to swing near that of the high and then slide from that of the late European session. And US session, they are expected to quickly make a drop and then gain the level. And these are all the expected move. Ultimately, you will come across Euro and GBP gain the level till that of the mid-European session, and subsequently they are expected to lose the level using some other story. And this gains during that of the Japanese session is mainly to induce those who have gone short on Friday, expecting the market to drop on Monday morning or Monday during the Japanese session, to give a surprise so that they will go for the short covering, and subsequently when the traders turn long visibly when they see that price is happening in the case of the equity, then subsequently without making further rise, they might rise about 20-30 pips, and in that if you book profit, fine. If you don't book profit, then they could show lower level, induce you to liquidate and tell all other stories. Then subsequently after the liquidation of the position, they continue to make the rise during the year session. And what is expected in this particular week? Tomorrow you will come across again a opening high and then a drop and further slide in the case of Euro and GBP. Then from midweek onwards, their significant gain is expected in them. So you know that the weekly permitted level is about 350 pips in the case of Euro and about 600 pips in the case of GBP. And they cannot do everything in one day and hold near that of the high all the time. So you have to understand that the market is being manipulated and the players create sentiments and act against that of the traders using some other story every time. So you have to keep in mind that this story, what they have built up over the weekend, is again a short-lived story, and they will give a slide and afterwards they will create some other story and gain the level. And you know very well, if the speeches can make the market to rise, then the people can continue to, the responsible people can continue to speak so that indefinitely the currencies can gain, and that is not going to happen. These are all just a trigger for the market, and you have to keep that in mind that the triggers are to trap the traders, and which way they are trapping the traders we need to understand. With regard to the initial lows and the highs, so Euro formed initial low between 230 330 at 1.3557. The high is 1.3676. And from there, if you see, it formed a new high 1.3690 for nearly about 3 hours and subsequently holding around that of 1.367. Then in the case of GBP, 1.5382 is the low, 1.5464 is the high. They made a upward stop and above that about 20 pips, but they are holding above the top, the initial high 1.5464, currently trading around 1.5470. So you can understand that there is a great potential in the case of GBP to gain rather than Euro to gain. In the case of USD CHF 1.0531, which is intact, even though Euro has made an upward stop, and GBP CHF has not done the downward stop, and currently it is trading around 1.055659. It is expected to gain the level as a contrarian move along with that of Euro. When Euro drops about 20-30 pips, CHF could gain about 40-50 pips, and that way they will try to bring in a contrarian move. In the case of USD, and 92.90 is the low, which is the downward stop and level, and then subsequently it is holding around 93. Currently 93.11, 93.16 is the level, and 93.30 is the high, which is also intact. It is expected to make an upward breakout, and already they have done the downward stop. And in the case of Australian dollar, the 0.933 is the low. They have breached the low. You can understand that they wanted to drop Australian dollar because they have cut the low, and the high is 93.87. They have made an upward stop, and earlier during the start when Euro and GBP are gaining the levels, and subsequently they are making a drop, and after the drop you can take a buy position, and they could go below to 93.05, or they can, if there are stocks below 93, then probably they will try to do one downward stop and below that, and then subsequently gain the levels. But Australian dollar, the gains will be lesser when compared to that of Euro and GBP gains. So that you have to keep it in mind. Then in the case of Canadian dollar, 1.0017 is the low, 1.0053 was the initial high, and they breached the high, currently trading around 1.005559. So you find that Australian dollar as well as Canadian dollar showing the net change positive. So they wanted to make a contrarian move of gaining the levels in the case of Canadian dollar and holding Australian dollar. So Australian dollar currently it is showing only a net change of 1 pip positive. So they will try to hold here till such time they are able to make some contrarian move and rising Canadian dollar and act on the AUD CAD cross. So these are all the initial lows and the highs. What you have seen between 2:30 and 3:30 GMT today, and let me minimize the PowerPoint presentation and take up the questions which are asked here, and focus the camera over there at the live market post page. Okay. Now, Yazzie has got a question. Do you think upside is limited in the case of Euro CHF? No. Euro CHF has got a great potential to go up, and it will touch very soon to that of 1.47 area. So don't try to go short there. Lower level selling might appear very good, but once they reverse the market, then will be vulnerably trapped. So after the drop, don't try to do sell and buy trade, and after the rise, don't try to do buy and sell trade. Smith has got a question. After these kinds of price action, shorts are trapped, big gain in euro. What kind of trading strategy is the best for earning money? Yeah, they gained the level. So during the gaining level, or they are done about 168 pips in the case of euro, and about 89 pips in the case of GBP. So obviously, No, it is not advisable to take a buy position here. And if you take a sell position also, you will be stopped out when they try to make during the gap time or during the early European session an upward stop. And probably they might make an upward stop on above 1.37 area and then subsequently slide. So during such upward stop, you can try to take a sell position. Otherwise, if you are afraid because the fundamental says that everything has come to normalcy and things like that, then avoid taking a sell position and avoid taking a buy position, and then you wait for the drop to happen. When they come to that of the middle level and see that the middle level they sustain for more than 30 minutes to 2 hours, say like the psychological level 1.3650, then 1.3625, 1.36. These are all the levels you have to watch where exactly they stay, and beyond that they are not dropping the market during the European session, because during the session start and the session close time they will try to create the euphoria, but during the mid session you'll know okay where they are resting when the volume is dwindling. Then around that time you watch, and when they make a brief dip and come closer to the initial or the intermediary low what they are set, you try to take a buy position and still use the hedging order to limit the risk. Thereby you will be able to easily keep stop at entry. When they gain further levels, you will be able to trail the stop and keep the limit and book profit in that. So that is the way after the drop you try to take a buy position. So when I was telling that during the drop time try to take buy position, probably many have ridiculed it, and now you understand that the players have accumulated all those sell positions of the traders who have been bearish in the market, and subsequently they induced people to speak or instructed people to speak. So thereby any speech they take it as a trigger for the market and then try to gain the level and book profit happily. And we traders, we become unnecessarily bullish and bearish and try to get struck with the position. Then drop. Will we see GBP much higher today? Yes, there is a great potential for GBP because GBP can gain about 250 pips. So initially they gain the levels, don't jump into that near that of the high. When they make a drop and see from that of the low, the gain is about 80 pips. So you know that GBP is such a volatile currency which can make a very quick drop and the rise, and you know that there they can even do a downward shopping. And so watch for such moves. Whenever there is a very quick move in the market, understand that it is a false move. Then try to take positions. When they quickly drop, try to take a buy position. When they quickly gain the levels, try to take a sell position. That way you will be able to keep stop at entry. And how low GBP will reach before rise in early European session? GBP, the psychological level, next psychological level is 1.5450, 1.5425, then 1.54. Probably they may not go below that of 1.54. Probably they could come to that level of 1.5424 or something like that. Then try to gain the level. You have to watch. It depends upon the quantum of longs built up in the market, etc. And where the stops are clustered. That is very important. So nobody, no technical analysis will be able to analyze it. Let me tell you very honestly, because I am being a statistician and I was teaching statistics for nearly about 28 years in universities and also guiding the research students with the advanced statistical analysis. And I know there is a limitation as far as market prediction is concerned and determination of the level by statistics. Then Sivaraman, how low GBP? Okay. Then Smith. Regarding USD, and it is expected the low will be cut today and more downward stopping. No. As I explained that USD, CAD and AUD, both are showing net change positive. They wanted to make more of a contrarian move today and in this particular session especially. So they are not expected to drop USD yen much. And they could break USD yen the high and go above. Then you will understand how they indicate very clearly to us, only we fail to read it. And if you see the net change, you can easily understand all such scenarios. And I have been teaching it. I don't know, still people find it difficult. Then stay. Can you analyze USD SJD as far as Singapore dollar is concerned, which is a regional currency similar to that of any other exotic currency. So there you come across local government intervention will be always taken into consideration, and you know that it is expected to strengthen further along with that of the other majors. Then, do you expect euro to cut the initial low? No. The 1.3557 they may not breach today. Then the entire euphoric condition will be lost. Then rather USDN level expected for this week close. See, USDN is expected to go to that level of 97 very soon. Eric, we will see the USD gaining move, then the euro and GBP will rise from the midway. Yes, Eric. So today, during the US session, we will come across more of USD gaining moves to start with, and subsequently they will close firm euro and GBP. Tomorrow open high and then start sliding from that of the Japanese, from that of the mid Japanese session, and during the early US session, and early European session. Then subsequently after some gains during that of the late European session tomorrow, during the US session, tomorrow US session, they are expected to make further drop in the case of euro and GBP. So after the drop, you can try to take tomorrow during the US session buy position, and that could be a very good position trade for this particular week. Don't jump into the market, and you find out the timings when exactly the lows are to be set so that such lows will not be breached. Then try to take positions. And last week buys were excellent buys. Now you will be able to understand that if you have got the buy position, you try to book profit during that of the Japanese session close and the early European session. Then subsequently wait for the drop till tomorrow US session. Then try to re-enter the market long position. So this is how the timings are to be given importance instead of the levels in the market. Because ultimately, whether you buy euro at 1.35 or 1.36, immaterial for us, as long as after the buy, we are able to book profit. So that mindset should develop rather than that buying euro at 1.33 or 1.32 is the only trade available in the world. If you think like that, then you will not enter into the market. Any level, if you do a buy, then you should be able to make profit. Any level, if you take a sell position, you should be able to make profit. Then that buy and sell trade or the sell and buy trade will be profitable trade. And ultimately, we traders are interested in profit rather than the economic condition, analyzing the economic condition of various countries and envisaging talks like this. Then you will become restless. Okay, LIC. What are the safe trades for the next 3 months in Australian dollar USD CHF? Okay, that means the safe trade in the sense the position trade. Till last week, any level buy was a good buy level, and now you are seeing that it is breached those levels, and you have to wait for tomorrow. And whatever the levels shown tomorrow during the US session, you try to take a buy position. Then probably you will be able to book profit in all the currencies what you have mentioned. Whether it is Australian dollar, USD CHF, USD CAD, these two are denominator currencies, and euro and GBP are numerator currencies. So in numerator as well as the denominator currencies, they are expected to make alternative gains. So avoid going short in such currencies. Then try to take long positions during quick draws. Then Imran. Is it coincident once Asian session closed positive, European session indicates positive opening? We see euro and GBP rising. See, the sentiment might continue briefly during the start of the European session, but it need not be sustained because the data release from that of Europe or any other attribute can just change or reverse the market. So don't think that every session they will continue the same sentiment. And if you think that the market sentiments are being set so it's going to be unaltered, then you will come across surprise very frequently. See, you know that everybody was talking about the UK election. Why they are not talking about UK election now? Everybody is giving that attribute to that of the Prime Minister of Greece speech. So this is how they will try to focus and fool us. And if you continue to become foolish or become victim for the rat, then you will not be in a position to earn from that other market. So when the elections are not quite far off, still GBP they are gaining the levels. Now you can understand what vested interest they have. Now, allow friends, filling the gap in euro would bring the price to 1.35, 1.3550. It will be safer levels to consider buying it. See, as far as the filling the gap, it is not necessarily always they have to fill up the gap. And you know the double shoulder formation in the chart. So first of all, what they do is they make a circular trade, push the market down, 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 down. They have to sell at a lowest level. Only then the others can also sell it at the lowest level and they try to buy all those things. In that process, somebody would have taken the buy positions from them also. So what they do is they bring the market down, then subsequently you find that they gain the levels again, then quickly in an unexpected way they make a downward stop. And during that downward stop, they will try to accumulate more and more of the buy positions, compensating the loss they have made with regard to the earlier sell positions. Then subsequently gain the levels. Then we call it as a double shoulder formation or head and shoulder formation or whatever it is. Then or double bottom and things like that. You can give any name, but ultimately what the players do is very important. Why such events happen again and again, you have to understand that. Now, with regard to the filling up the gap, so you come across the lower level consolidation with a downward stop and then a shift in trading zone, and the shift in trading zone, that means they don't retrace those levels. They don't fill the gap and subsequently go to the middle level consolidation and make either way stop-ins. During that either way stop-ins also, they won't fill up the gap. And if you think that those gaps ought to be filled up, and you may not come across the market coming there all the time. So, whenever they make a consolidation, the filling up the gap will happen. Whenever they shift the trading zone, then the filling up of the gap does not happen. So that you have to understand when they are going to do that, when they are not going to do that, we should be able to perceive properly. Then GP, you said quick moves are false moves and we can sell after the quick rise. But on the last Friday, we saw Euro Euro was not making a quick rise on Friday. Those who have watched probably understand that it was a very, very slow gain. And 20-30 pips every time they gain and consolidated. And that is how they have been making the move. It is not like a spike of gaining 50 pips and within 30 minutes gaining another 50 pips and things like that. This morning they did the gaining of the level. That is a fake move. So you should be able to find the gaining of the levels in relation to that of the time. Only then you will be able to understand whether it is a quick. The meaning of the word quick is in a shorter duration, you should be able to gain the levels. That is quick. Then Sivaraman search. Please explain denominator and numerator currency. Numerator currency, the currency symbol comes on the numerator of a ratio. Euro USD is a numerator currency. GBP USD is a numerator currency, wherein the currency in which you are interested is on the numerator side of the ratio. Then USDCH, USDN, they are all denominator currencies, wherein the respective currencies are in the denominator side or on the lower side of the ratio. Here, okay. Then Imran, why we see all currencies gaining against the yen when whereas Canadian dollar yen is sliding since right? See, I think Imran, you have to understand how the market is being manipulated. And if you try to see the relative strength of various currencies, and that is next to meaningless condition, because you don't find that any particular currency remains as the strongest currency or the weakest currency forever. And from session to session, they continue to change from that of the strongest to that of the stronger or the weakest, and things like that. So don't focus on that. That doesn't help you in trading as such. And if you try to take a position in the strongest currency, a buy position, it doesn't mean that it has to give you further profit. So, uh, trying to find out the strength and the weakness of the currencies is not the real way of understanding the market, and they try to keep changing uh, the strength and the weakening conditions of the currencies from time to time. Ultimately, what you have to see is whether you come across a buy and sell trading opportunity or a sell and buy trading opportunity. So, in the market, people tend to give a lot of stories and a lot of distractions for our traders to go in for the cost data and things like that. And what is the whether the market is in oversold condition and the overbought condition. And if you notice on Friday, many people were talking about euro is in overbought condition and GBP was in overbought condition and things like that. For the gains we're seen now. So what is the big idea of telling that it has been overbought? So obviously it has to correct. It doesn't correlate at all that way. So we need to understand how the players become overbought or oversold. So earlier they become oversold and they continue to correct the market and they are taken for the buy position. Similarly, now they are overbought and they are going to gain the levels and book profit in their buy. So you have to understand their intentions to play in the market rather than trying to find what apparently appears in the market. Then, do you see Australian dollar cutting 0.93? Will it be good level to buy 93 billion, 0.93 area? The Australian dollar, you find that slowly it has cut the initial low, and net change has become negative 4 or 3 pips, and so probably they will try to go closer to that of the 93 area, and after reaching 93 area, we have to see how far lower they are going to drop, and you know that the players liquidate the currencies and put the money in some other currencies. So for that liquidation purpose, they could liquidate Australian dollar because they have been holding the Australian dollar in a very strong way. And when they try to liquidate and ease in that money or release the money to pay it as a margin money to buy euro and GBP, then you could come across Australian dollar dropping for 2 days and subsequently gain the levels. So don't immediately think that Australian dollar need to move in tandem with that of euro and GBP. Similarly, in the case of gold, as I explained, the gold is expected to rise about 1,167. It has reached about 1,170. Don't think that it will go again 1,200, 1,228, and they will hold near that of 1,160 and try to book profit and release the money from that of gold and try to invest it in that of the forex market. Similarly, in the stock market, you have seen that Dow Jones reaching almost closer to that of 11,000 and they are holding it here for 1 month. and they are holding and booking profit, and suddenly when they release the money and they don't give the support, you will find the market falling like a nine pins. So you have to watch carefully what the bullishness, what you come across in the market is not the true bullishness. You have to see the hidden agenda of the players and accordingly trade. That is why I give more emphasis and more importance to that of the type of market moves and the timings of the market, which will be able to really give us and also reading the intentions of the player from time to time. Then you will be able to be a safe trader. Then stream. Why do we see large gaps in currencies and how are we exposed to trade? See, these sort of large gaps are bound to happen in the market whenever there is going to be a shift in trading zone, and we cannot help it because that is how they make the moves in the market. And if you have got a buy position, then try to hold it by keeping stop at entry and try to maximize the profit, understanding that okay, now they are going to gain levels in the case of Euro and GBP. But if you have not taken any position, or you have taken a wrong position, like a sell and buy trade in the case of Euro and GBP, just because others are telling that Euro is going to 1.27 and GBP is going to about 1.35, then you have been fooled. Accept that you have been fooled and you try to limit the risk or hedge it or try to close the position when there is a drop in Euro and GBP, not during the rise. When you try to cover your loss in the shorts during the rise, then it will be a very high loss. And wait for, again, similar to that of a person who is waiting to buy during the drop, you try to wait for the drop to happen in the Euro and GBP and try to cover. During the drop, don't try to take another sell position, then you will be vulnerably trapped with overexposed position. So, understand that in the market, they try to drop circular trades and induce the traders to sell or create the market sentiment. And similarly, they gain levels, buy, then induce the traders to buy during the rise. And don't try to do that when they are trying to make you as a victim of their act. So let me go back to that on the PowerPoint presentation. So Japanese Russian rise and swings, European session swing and slide, and volatile moves and rise of the expected moves during that of the US session. So let me take this opportunity to thank everybody and also FX Street. And we will continue to meet tomorrow and review the market. Meanwhile, I'll post it in the blog and take up how exactly the market is making the moves, whether it is moving in tandem with that of the expected forecast or against. So we will analyze it by market reading and we will take it from there. So I take this opportunity to thank everybody who has come here, listen to my talk. See you tomorrow.